Great day, everyone. This is Dr. AJ, the wifepreneur. I provide resources and tips that change the way you think, look, and feel about your marriage and sex. So there's about 60% of marriages end up in divorce. There's 3 factors that play a role in divorce majority of the time, and that's communication, finances, and sex. I want to deal with sex. Why does everybody deal with the first 2 but really don't deal with the sex part, especially in religions, especially I'm a Christian, Christianity, people feel it's a taboo. It's not a taboo. God has licensed you to drive. So why not drive? If you got the Mercedes sitting up in the garage, why is it just sitting? It's there to be driven. So that means you should be having sex. Too many times in my life growing up, I've been around and heard married Christians complain about not having existent sex life, rather. And if you knew they weren't having sex, they were mean and just prude and ornery and just ridiculous. And so I want to share light to that. I want to bring that mask or that dark cloud over sex and marriage. You are supposed to have sex. It is a ministry to your spouse. Believe it or not, it keeps you connected. It keeps you the intimacy going now. It's not the end all be all, but it helps people are much happier. It helps you communicate more. And so I'm going to deal with that. So today, let's talk about, can we have a conversation? I want to have a conversation. So let's talk about why you may need to improve your sex life. Why you may need to improve your sex life. Okay, so number 1, let's deal with it. If you're not having it at all, that's a big problem. We are sexual creatures, no matter what the myth was growing up. Now, I am in my early 40s, so I know growing up, I would hear women say, I don't want no sex, and women ain't supposed to want to have sex, and that is crazy. We are sexual beings, and it is in our nature to have sex with the one you love, which is your husband. So why not have sex? You shouldn't feel bad that you're horny and want to have that physical connection with your spouse, and men vice versa. But it's more on the women than it is for men to feel bad about wanting to have sex, a lot of great sex with your husband. So if sex is non-existent, then you guys need to communicate and talk about why you guys aren't having sex. Okay, so maybe you're not in a category. Say, okay, well, Dr. AJ, I'm cool with it. I'm not in that category. I am having sex. All right, so my next question is, how often are you having sex? If it's once every 3 months, there's a problem. And you should be having sex. Now, I'm being generous. Now. You should be having sex. If everybody is normal, healthy, if you're normal and healthy people, you should be having sex more than once a month. Yes, if you're not, there's issues there, and you need to talk about them. And it may not be issues as most issues, with the marital sex can be resolved. You can be resolved. Now, you probably haven't had as much sex because your spouse doesn't want to deal with exposing why they won't have sex with you. However, you have to be open and honest in your communication and be willing to listen to what they have to say and not get mad. Because sometimes with wanting something, you have to expose the bad. And that means you might have to change some things. Yes, that's the hard, naked truth about it. Some things that you're going to have to change about yourself in order to have that sexual connection back. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. And so we dealt with non-existent. Now, the second sign is how often, what's the frequency? And you should be having it more than once every 3 months. Okay? Because if it's an issue with you, if you two healthy sexual beings, adults, and there's no health issues, and he ain't having sex with you or she ain't having sex with you, you might be thinking about she might be having sex or he might be having sex with somebody else. So you need to check that. Then the third and the last one is just you say, okay, well, I'm not having a problem with that. Oops, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not having a problem with that, Dr. AJ. So we have sex. We have it pretty often. But what if the sex is just not good? What if it's like a boring, mundane, non-exciting, it feels like a chore type of sex? Who wants that? Again, communication is the key. You need to talk about and tell your partner, your spouse, what you like. There's nothing wrong with experimentation. Disclaimer, I'm not talking about bringing a third party in the bedroom. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you want to role play. I'm talking about if you want to do it in different places of the house, different times. You want to be spontaneous. But you don't want sex to be mundane. And so if you fall in one of these three categories, that means you need a better sex life. So I'm glad I was able to help you today and help you figure out what you need to do. And I'll be giving you more and more signs or more tips of what needs to happen, how you can overcome your sexual issues. There's no need for you to be sexually neglected any longer. No need. I pray for good fortune in everything that you do and for your good health, that your everyday affairs prospers as well as your soul. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.